approached last night and offered the North American exclusive for $250,000. We turned them down. We also put out a statement asking the world press to follow our lead and to boycott these pictures. A message has to be sent.
We were just listening to Stephen Cause, the editor of the National Enquirer, talking about how his paper will not print those crash photos of Diana that apparently are available on the world market. Right now we've been talking about the backlash against the world of the tabloids. Many blame those photographers on the motorcycles in some way for the death of Diana, and now it sounds this morning as if one of them could be indicted on manslaughter charges in France. But now there's a question, will that backlash against the tabloids turn into a boycott as people turn their backs on the tabs? We've been talking with entertainment correspondent Robin Carter here in New York City. And now joining me from Pittsburgh, marketing expert Dr. Aubrey Guskey. Doctor, thanks very much for joining us today.
My pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Well, you know, a lot of people are very interested in this. What's your take on it? Do you think people are outraged and they're going to turn their backs on the tabloids?
Well, it's very interesting because even though a lot of consumers are blaming the tabloids for the death of Princess Diana, what is really going to happen is it's feeding the frenzy, as Robin said, and people are so hungry and starved for information that I think it's fuel for the fire. You can see a lot of the bookstores and the newsstands are selling out. They can't keep enough material about Princess Diana, and so I think that frenzy is really going to continue. The average consumer is not blaming themselves for this. They believe the tabloids are putting it out, and they in turn are just simply buying the material.
You know, but it's like the proverbial truck wreck, you know, where you want to slow down, you want to look at it, but at the same time you know that there could have been some contributing factor with those photographers in the death of Diana.
Yeah.
This case could be completely different than anything we've ever seen.
Yeah, exactly. Princess Diana was the most photographed face that we had throughout the world, and people wanted to hear everything they possibly could about her. She was a figure that was tremendously loved, a role model for a lot of young women, and a lot of the people who buy the tabloids are young women, ages 18 to 49, and you've got about 19 million people alone reading every week magazines such as the National Enquirer. So this is a tremendous number of people that are still interested, and more than ever interested in what actually happened.
We do know of one boycott that is being organized this Saturday in Britain by an organization called Presswise. They're suggesting that nobody buy the newspapers on Saturday because that is the day of Diana's death. And Robin, here in the United States, we were talking just a moment ago about how celebrities have been talking about, you know, if you want these practices stopped, you've got to stop buying the tabloids.
Well, people are supposedly outraged. I mean, certainly the world is in shock. Certainly the world mourns Diana. How guilty does the average person feel who's ever bought a tabloid? Right. Some people are saying they do, but I think the way to show their outrage would be to boycott. And, you know, it's interesting. Nightline posed a question last night. They said, if I sat here and said to you on the air, I've got a picture of the car wreck, and then I said to you, no, I don't have it, would you, the viewer, be disappointed that you didn't get to see it?
Well, the natural reaction is you'd want to see it just so that, because that's the way human nature is. And doctor, isn't that the way it works?
Absolutely, yes. We're a very curious bunch, and we really want to know everything that happened and see it, even though in reality, when you think about it, realistically, it does not make sense for us to want to see all the gory details, but we do. And we've followed Diana's life. We've understood the problems and difficulties she's had and the crises that she's gone through, and we just believe this is another part, and we want to continue to be a part of that as well.
And we want to
Picks up a tabloid, they're going to say to themselves, and they see a very private picture, whether it be of Madonna or whoever, wow, what did that photographer go to get that? Right. And how much jeopardy was the star in? I think up until now, those of us in the media understood what went on here, but I don't think the general public did.
You know, and as you pointed out a moment ago, Robin, mainstream media trying to distance itself from tabloids, although in a lot of people's minds, Doctor, I'd imagine that most people don't know the difference between the New York Times or some of these stockerazzi operations.
Yes, that's exactly right. They're seeing the media and they're putting them all in one particular pot and determining that the media is at fault overall. And as we know, that's not necessarily the case. As Robin said, there's media that is professional and tries to get stories with the approval and the blessings of the stars, and I think that particular type of media is going to continue. As Robin said, I think the consumer is now more educated, so we're well aware of a lot of the adventures that these paparazzi went through, and really the invasion of privacy. And I think consumers are going to think next time they buy a tabloid, but I think, unfortunately, we're still going to continue to buy them.
Professor Audrey Gusky, you've got the final word. Thank you very much for joining us today from Pittsburgh, and our thanks as well to Robin Carter for joining us here in our New York studio.
Thanks for having me.
That's our program. We'll have more on the life and death of Diana here on Fox News Channel in just a moment. Thanks for joining us. I'm Steve Ducey. We'll see you back here.
The minute you use it. Clinical tests prove a new breakthrough cleanser can actually do this. It combines beta-hydroxy with cleansing microbeads and hydrating moisture. It's proven to help smooth the signs of aging, revealing fresher, newer skin immediately. And the name, Oil of Olay New Daily Renewer Cleanser, proven to help smooth the signs of aging.
Making plenty of high-fiber fruits, vegetables, and grains like wheat bran cereal a regular part of your low-fat diet may help reduce your risk of some kinds of cancer.
Yeah, I saw that.
You already read this? Did not.
Yes, I did.
You did not.
Yes, I did.
Time, your most valuable resource, and you never have enough of it. The Fox News Channel gives you more news in less time. News that's fair and balanced, without wasting your time. Fox News Channel, it's about time.
Because news travels, Fox Cross Country. News coverage crisscrossing the nation. Business, sports, entertainment, and weather. Follow us as we follow the news. Fox Cross Country. Weekdays only on the Fox News Channel.
I always believed the press would kill her in the end. But not even I could imagine that they would take such a direct hand in her death, as seems to be the case. It would appear that every proprietor and editor of every publication that has paid for intrusive and exploitative photographs of her, encouraging greedy and ruthless individuals to risk everything in pursuit of Diana's image, has blood on his hands today.
Welcome back. I'm Steve Ducey. We're talking about the way tabloids may have played a role in the royal tragedy and whether consumers will continue to buy them. I'm joined once again by marketing expert Dr. Audrey Gusky and entertainment correspondent Robin Carter. Well, Doctor, it sounds like you make a case that people are going to continue to buy them, even though, as Diana's own brother there said, you know, these are pictures with blood on them.
Yeah, absolutely. What seems to happen is consumers like to live vicariously through a lot of famous people. By watching the rich and famous and understanding their lifestyles, it's a very safe, riskless way for us as individuals to pretend that we are a princess or to pretend that we can be this royalty or live this really exciting life. And Diana had such charisma and such charm and beauty that people really wanted to emulate her. You saw it in fashion, you saw it in everything that she did, and I think her legend is going to continue, and the tabloids are really going to take advantage of that.
And I think another purpose for the general public that these so-called paparazzi stolen moments photo show is the humanity, the vulnerability. We're not seeing a star where they are packaged. You know, there were pictures of Diana with her kids at McDonald's. Makes her very human. Someone reading that can say, hey, I do that too. The pictures of Tom Cruise and his children on vacation. Those are the kind of things that make a star very human to their fans and to the readers of these things.
You know, Robin, it does seem, though, that in a lot of cases the stars want it both ways. They want to be seen by the public, but they want the private time as well. You know, if you're photographed at McDonald's with your kid, that makes you seem very personable. The problem is that so many of these moments now, you know, you've got the paparazzi, the stalkerazzi, and it's just a whole different ball of wax. But can they really have it both ways?
Well, they can, and every star knows that once you jump on that bandwagon of Hollywood fame, once you get on that train, the price of fame is an invasion of privacy, people knowing everything about you. But what's happened in the last couple of years, I would say maybe as early as the last year or so, is this stalkerazzi. People not only with monster lenses, but with video cameras, trying to provoke a star to sell that material to a tabloid TV show or to a magazine. Right. You had an incident in New York where somebody caught Robert De Niro coming out of a club. The guy was taking pictures of him in his face. De Niro said, come on, give me the tape. And they got into a scuffle, and De Niro was actually booked And then there was a sting operation, and the photographer ended up getting in all kinds of trouble. But you have this kind of thing going on, and you've seen it with the pictures of Diana, them getting in her face, trying to get her to react.
Right.
That picture sells for even more.
You know, also, Doctor, it seems like we as consumers of information, and whether it's tabloids or anything else, we want it both ways too. We are outraged today, but at the same time, we want all the dirty details.
That's exactly right. They've done polls in the Pittsburgh area and found that the majority of people want some kind of a legislation or restriction on these paparazzi. And yet the books and the magazines are selling off the shelves here in this area. And so you really can't have it both ways. Can you have legislation? Probably not. But I think the industry itself is going to start regulating itself. As we saw, the National Enquirer has refused the pictures. So I think overall, with the stars and the media working together, I think that's probably the best solution to this problem.
You know, the big problem, though, is that outrage, and there certainly is plenty of it right now, outrage has a very short shelf life, doesn't it, Doctor?
Yes, it does. And people will remember the glamour of Diana, and they will remember all the beauty of her, and the tragedy will be there, but as you said, that will fade, and people will remember the positive things and still want to continue to see pictures of her life for many, many years to come.
But the next time I think somebody picks up a tabloid, they're going to say to themselves, and they see a very private picture, whether it be of Madonna or whoever, wow, what did that photographer go to get that?
Right.
And how much jeopardy was the star in? I think up until now, those of us in the media understood what went on here, but I don't think the general public did.
You know, and as you pointed out a moment ago, Robin, mainstream media trying to distance itself from tabloids, although in a lot of people's minds, Doctor, I'd imagine that most people don't know the difference between the New York Times or some of these